Yeah, nice to meet you as well. I mean, it's an honor to play for the Chicago Fire, and it's going to be an honor to play for Chelsea as well. But yeah, I'm focused on just, giving my best and making sure that I leave, the best image of myself I could leave behind for Chicago Fire. Always wanted to show that with hard work you can get anywhere. So yeah, it's going to be super important for me to, go out these last two matches and, have a good performance, because that's what I want the Fire to remember me for, having good performances on the field and obviously being a good human as well. So it's super important for me to finish well.
Field, like playing in front of crowd that so well? How does it feel playing in front of these people?
Yeah, it's amazing. I grew up in the suburbs, not really from Chicago, but still feels like home every time I play in front of the fans, giving them the passion that they deserve, because obviously they're spending, their money to come watch us play. So every time I step on the field, I want to work my hardest and make sure that they can see that, see that passion on the field and the hard work, because obviously they deserve that.
Yeah, you must have you meet the fans after games and stuff. Like, is it a bit crazy sort of being famous, maybe signing the kids' gloves? Like, how do you feel with all that sort of fame and that side of things?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's, now that you play professionally, a lot of people want you to do stuff like that. They want to have their glove signed or a jersey signed or something like that. And it's a little bit odd to me, because I look at myself as just as one of them. I don't see myself as anything, above them in any single way. So yeah, when people ask me to still sign their stuff, it's a little bit weird, but obviously I'm gonna, give the fans what they want.
Yeah, and you've kind of achieved a lot at Fire, like 43 games, I think, so far. That's what I count it as. That's a lot for an 18-year-old. Like, what do you put that down to? Who are the people that trusted you, and how have you developed so quickly?
Yeah, obviously, as a young athlete, you want to get those game minutes, because that's, I think that's the most important for developing and, learning from your mistakes in a game type situation when there's pressure on the line. I think that's super important for a developing athlete. You want to be able to make those decisions, because training, mistakes are allowed. That's where you're supposed to make mistakes, but in a game, you have to make sure that those decisions are spot on. But yeah, I think, I have to give credit to all the coaching staff that trusted in me from the beginning. It's tough to trust a young player, and a young goalkeeper especially. It's the last guy in the back. You have to make sure that, every day in training, you're proving that trust to the coaches. So, if I can continue to do that wherever I go, I think that, that's the key to playing and getting those minutes.
And how do you assess your season? I know you're fiercely ambitious. Like, sometimes I even feel you're hard on yourself, like when I hear you talking, but you've improved on the clean sheets last year. I think it's 67% save percentage, best 22 in the U22s. You're in that group. You're the only goalkeeper in next gen for goal. Third in the MLS for clean sheets. Like, do you look at these stats? Do you have pride, or did you want even more from your season?
Yeah, I'm proud of them. They're great, but I really think I could have done much better this season. You don't really want to look back and say that you could have changed anything like that. But yeah, I'm not too happy with it. I think I could have done much better. But obviously the accolades that I've gotten this season are great, and I think that having those dips in form are super important, because you learn how to bounce back for them. You kind of learn on how you feel when you're in those kind of dips of form, but yeah, now I know I can bounce back from them, and I know what I did last time, so when it happens again, I know what to do. So yeah, I think it's super important. I think this season was a really, eye-opening season for me, that it's not always going to be up here. Sometimes you're going to be a little bit lower, but yeah, if you can learn how to bounce back from your mistakes and, continue to learn and get better, I think that's most important.
Do you almost feel like you need the lows to learn from? Like, it can't all be high. Did you need those? And what sort of psychological things did you learn? Was there stuff even that maybe you've seen in documentaries other athletes going through that you actually lived through yourself?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's when true character shows. When you're at the lowest of low, what do you really do in that moment to bounce back from it? And I think it's just about psychologically just understanding that this moment will pass. Just like the good moments pass, the lowest moments will pass. So I think it's important to stay true to yourself, stick with the routine that, you were doing when you were at the highest of points, and stick with that routine when you're at the lowest of point, because it got you to the highest of point, and, it's going to bring you out of that lowest point. So I think just believing in yourself, trusting that you're on the right path is what I got from, hitting those low moments.
And what are your routines? You just mentioned them there that you sort of fall back on when you're doing well, when you're doing badly. What do they look like? You know, do you have nutritionists? Do you really focus on nutrition? How do you train? Like, give me a bit of insight into that side of your life.
Yeah, so I do a lot of journaling. So I'll plan my days out and everything. I like to be on on the minute of when I'm doing stuff. So yeah, just continuing to get in early to trainings, watching film from training sessions, with my goalkeeper coach, learning from, what I could do better here and there, reflecting after games. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're, learning as much as you can from the games. And yeah, obviously all the professional things you need to do to maintain, your body, your mind, keeping it healthy. You look at players like Cristiano Ronaldo who have a super, discipline. I think a lot of discipline is super important to making sure you stay consistent because that's what's going to keep you in check.
Have you been disciplined like throughout your teen years, really? Because I guess some people would say maybe you lost a bit of childhood there, but you're chasing a dream that's super competitive, super hard. Like, how much have you had to sacrifice? Have you had to sacrifice going out for the beers with the guys? Like, what does your life look like sort of behind the scenes?
Yeah, for sure. You have to sacrifice a lot. It's a lot of people don't see that, but I think right now is the dream. You're living the dream of, grinding and making sure you're waking up, before the sun rises and going to sleep super early because I think that, when I look back on it when I'm, 34 years old, I'm going to thank myself that I was doing this stuff. So, yeah, I think that I got a good foundation going and if I can continue to do that, it'll keep me going on the right path. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff behind the closed doors that a lot of people don't see, that lead to good performances and, success on and off the field.
And you've obviously got, you work really professionally, you work really hard. Like it's unbelievably hard to be where you are, but there must be a spark of talent as well that maybe came from your childhood. Can you remember like when you first started football? Like, were you good? Like, how did it look? What did it look like in Addison? I've never been to Addison, so you might need to even explain a bit about what Addison even looks like. So just tell me a bit about like what it looked like as a kid with a ball.
Yeah, so I literally lived right across the park where I grew up playing. So I mean, I started when I was 3 or 4, not really knowing what position I wanted to play, but I was always a bigger kid. So I kind of just gravitated towards the goal naturally. And then, from there, it's a nice little park where, we had like our club and park district team where we grew up playing. So I think I fell in love with the game there. And then, I joined the fire academy at about 2012 or something like that. And yeah, ever since then, they started to teach me the techniques of, playing the game and everything. And I just started to fall in love with it more.
Yeah, and your brother Nicholas, he's a footballer. Did he just used to kick the ball at you really hard? Like, what is going on? Why is this 3-year-old like?
Uh,
What's he doing? Is he saving shots? Is he kicking it himself? What's going on?
yeah, he was a footballer as well, but yeah, I mean, we were always super competitive, as brothers are, So I think that competitive drive I gained from him was something that I kind of carried on into, playing football because it's, you learn to not liking to lose. I think that's super important for a competitive athlete and, for team sports as well. You want to carry that, drive to win always.
He must have been better than you at first, though, because he's the older brother, right? So it must have been hard
Yeah,
to get
for
to his
sure.
level.
Yeah, no,
So
for sure. I was always trying to chase, to get to him, So I think that also helped me out a lot, continuing to work and try to get better even when I was super young.
I watched that video you put out with the fire, and I loved it. The one where you kind of like announced your transfer and you were leaving, for Chelsea. Can you tell me a bit about, you mentioned your parents in there, and they made a lot of sacrifices for you. Like, what were the sacrifices? Was it like driving, like long distances? Did they inspire you? Like with their work rate? What was it, about these two people?
Yeah, they came over from Poland when they were, about 2021, not knowing the language or anything, not knowing where they were going to end up. So, when times get tough for me, I kind of think about that. You know what I mean? Like if they could make it out in a country where they were, unfamiliar with everything and, not even knowing the language, then, what I'm going through right now, I'm going to get through it as well. So I think
Yeah.
that, my mom worked 3 jobs. My dad was, rarely home, always working. So yeah, I mean, they still had time to drive me to trainings and, bring me to extra trainings. And obviously you have to pay for that stuff too. So yeah, everything that, I have right now is all owed to them, and hopefully I can keep repaying them.
What did they do? Like, what were the and how did they inspire you into football, or was it just the part really?
They grew up athletic. They never played football, but my mom was a basketball player. My dad was a track runner, so a little bit of athletic genes in there. But yeah, I think that they inspired me with their hard work. Like it was always that you had to be doing something, you had to be working, because they were always doing something. So if I was sat around doing nothing, then I was in the wrong place. So I think that they inspired that hard work into me, and hopefully I can carry that into my family and down the future.
What do they make of your career now?
Oh, they're so proud. They're super proud. My mom is going to be my mom always tells me she's the first one to pack me, to go over to England. But, she'll be super sad, but she knows that this was my dream, and, she's going to support me with everything, and same with my dad as well.
Yeah, I know how that feels. I left home too, so I know how you feel. But you love London.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to ask you about your kind of like personal side is why Gaga? Like, what is the nickname? For people will probably ask this question to you a lot, but I need to know the answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think it started like an indoor place. We played indoor soccer, so I think it just started in there. I think my dad was the one actually who came up with it, and ever since then, like I view it more as my first name now. A lot more people call me Gaga now than Gabriel, so it kind of stuck, and ever since I was little, everyone just kept calling me it.
And your middle name's Pavel as well. Where does that come from? Is that like your dad's name,
Yeah,
or
that's my dad's name.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's quite interesting. You chose USA. You're obviously American. You sound American. You grew up there. You made that choice to play for USA. And the statement was really clear and really interesting. But I get what the statement didn't, that you put out didn't go into is like, how did it feel, that choice? Like, because it's like, your roots, like I'm half Moroccan and I'm also English and I feel more English, but how did it feel sort of making that choice? Because I think if I was a player, I'd be making the same choice and it'd be difficult as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was super difficult. I think my family is all from Poland. Just me and my brother grew up here in Chicago. So yeah, it was a really difficult choice because I kind of felt that my family wanted me to play for Poland, but it's obviously, my parents told me that it's completely my choice. It's my career, and I have to choose what's best for me. And honestly, deep down, I felt more American. I grew up here. They gave my family a beautiful life, and now it's America's giving me a beautiful life. So hopefully I can, continue to repay the facilities I got, and the school I went to and everything. It was all in America. So deep down, I felt more American, and I think the best choice for my career was, to hopefully repay the America with lots of trophies and hopefully a World Cup one day.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. And credit to your parents as well. It shows they're not too pushy like as parents, are they? They just let you do what you're passionate about, right? Is that how
Yeah,
it is? They're not.
Yeah, they're super supportive with every decision I make, and they knew that they didn't want to force that choice on me. They wanted it to be completely mine. So I think that support system is super important.
You're a great athlete, but like, a lot of people ask the question, why are you a goalkeeper? And everyone thinks that goalkeepers are just crazy, right? So are you a bit crazy? Why did you become a goalkeeper, not an outfield player, or did you make that change in the academy system?
Yeah, I think that that level of pressure is something that I always chased. Being a goalkeeper, you're the last one back there. So, your mistakes are highlighted rather than the saves you make. So I think having that pressure and being that lone guy in the back is something that I really liked and something I stuck to. And, I think that crazy goalkeeper attitude, I think that's a little bit of a stereotype, So I think sometimes you can find a lot of goalkeepers that are calm, because I think it takes, being calm in those super intense situations whereas, that characteristic is super important. But yeah, I think being a goalkeeper, you do have to be a little bit crazy. It's a tough position, and you have to be super, I think it's more mentally demanding than physically, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and people are blasting balls at you as well. But yeah, yeah. Your style of goalkeeping, I think, has been compared to like a lot of people. But like one name that came up was Thibaut Courtois. Like I know a little bit about goalkeeping. I know about the set position. I know a few characteristics and styles, but is that kind of a lazy comparison? Because you are tall, you're 2 meters tall. Like, what kind of goalkeeper are you to people who haven't watched you, and people who maybe not experts in goalkeeping as well? Are you similar to someone? Are you an active goalkeeper? Like, what kind of goalkeeper are you?
Yeah, I mean, just to be compared to, one of the best goalkeepers to play, I think that's an honor. And, I still have a lot of work to do to be at that level and everything for sure. But, I like to be aggressive. I like to, command my area and, kind of be that rock in the back. So yeah, I think yeah, obviously I still have a lot of work to do, but that's a kind of goalkeeper that I try to portray in my games. Obviously showing that passion and everything, and being explosive, and making brilliant saves and having quick reactions. And obviously now you have to adapt to being the 11th player on the field, so you have to be really good with the ball on your feet, which which are all areas I need to work on, obviously to be at that top level. But yeah, I don't know if I have a exact goalkeeper that I try to play as. I watch a lot of film of a lot of different goalkeepers, and whatever works for me, I try to put into my game. So hopefully just learning from all the best guys in the world is what I'm going to continue to do.
Yeah, and speaking as a fan rather than an athlete here, this isn't to compare you, but is there a goalkeeper you enjoyed watching as a child? Was there one that inspired you, like on TV? Did you watch a lot of football on TV? Was there someone who stood out to you that you're like, I want to be that guy? I love that guy.
Yeah, I think Neuer was revolutionary. I think that he kind of influenced the game of being that 11th player, and helping your team with the back line. If you're much higher, your back line can be much higher because the goalkeeper is managing that space, kind of being that sweeper keeper.
Mm.
But then, I mean, legends like Peter Cech, right? Like, such a legend. I mean, almost holds the record for most clean sheets ever. So, I mean, chasing those records is unbelievable for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I wasn't really going to mention Petr Cech yet, but you mentioned him there. Like, he wanted you. You spoke to him. Like, how was those conversations? What were they like? How was it to speak to a legend? Like, tell me a bit about the feeling when you got a phone call and it's Petr's on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, I almost thought it was fake, to be honest. I didn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I was talking to Peter Cech, and just being able to listen to him and listen to the advice and what he was telling me. Like, it's truly an honor, and it shows that you can come from anywhere and get to a certain place in life. So yeah, I mean, credits to him, because what a legend in the game, and still takes time to try to inspire younger goalkeepers. He's truly a great guy.
How much did he know about you? Was it kind of impressive that he knew about you, like this legend who we all think is unbelievable? Like, was it impressive that he knew a lot about you as well?
Yeah, it's super impressive, because I was just doing what I love, so to get recognition from doing something that I love to do is it's unbelievable. It's like a dream come true.
You didn't hang up on him, did you, when he called?
No way.
An awkward period, really, because it felt like the transfer was going to happen in March, maybe, or sort of like the talks were happening then, and then the sanctions happened. Like, how was that? Was that stressful? Like, how did you deal with that sort of like pause all of a sudden?
I think I dealt with it, quite well. I still just wanted to continue to play, because I knew that even if I had signed, that I was still probably going to be back, with the fire and playing games. So I think just having that present focus and, staying in the moment was what kept me, on the right path.
Was it a bit weird seeing your name in like talked about in transfers and stuff? Like, that's your first time. Like, it's going to happen to you in your career, but this was the first time. Chicago Fire to Chelsea. It was happening to you.
Yeah, I mean, my friends would send me like screenshots of like the internet posting stuff like that. So it was crazy to see, my name with one of the best clubs in the world. So yeah, I mean, it's still a little weird, because like Chelsea is such a big club, and coming from from where I started to getting to that point is unbelievable.
And it was a bit strange as well, like, that Petr left Chelsea, and like, they had new owners as well. So maybe the transfer could have fell through. Were you worried about that? And there was also talk about Real Madrid at that point. So how did that sort of feel? Did you feel like almost maybe Chelsea had gone at that point?
Yeah, it was a little bit weird, but I was still like mid-season with the Chicago Fire, so I tried my best to, zone all that stuff out because, it all depended on my performances on the field. So, making sure that I was still playing well because, if I started to think too much about, what could happen and, what did happen, then, maybe my performances on the field wouldn't be the best, and, that stuff would never come true. So I think it was important just to zone in and make sure that I'm focusing on my game.
Yeah, you did incredible there to keep focused, but I guess you had the choice to either maybe jump to a different ship, or you could have waited for Chelsea, but it looked like you waited. Is that how it was? You chose to wait for Chelsea and let them get ready to make that transfer a bit later on?
Yeah, I mean, it was, a lot of things happen with like the transfers and stuff, but I knew that speaking with Peter before that, that Chelsea had a good, plan set in for me, and I trusted that, and I felt that from them. So I think, joining Chelsea was definitely the right move.
Edouard Mendy, who's broken the record for Champions League clean sheets at an English club, and Kepa Arrizabalaga, who's the most expensive goalkeeper of all time. So are you looking forward to training with those guys in January just to see where you are?
Yeah, for sure. Even Bettinelli, all three of those guys, I can't wait to train with them and learn from them, seeing how they train, how they move in trainings, it's gonna be awesome. And I think that it's only gonna make me better, seeing how they live, on the field and off the field, what they're doing. Like it's gonna be an honor because they're some of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Yeah. Have you had messages from any of the players, like Instagram messages, that kind of thing? Like, if you had a bit of banter or discussion, like, have you had any of that kind of stuff already?
I spoke with Kukurea on Instagram and Mendy as well. Yeah, so I followed Mendy, of course, and I saw that he followed me back, so I sent him a message, and yeah, he just told me to keep going because it's super impressive what I'm doing here. So yeah, I mean that alone is unbelievable.
That's so nice because you could make somebody not feel welcome if you're competing against them, but
Sure.
he's just trying to make you feel welcome, right?
Exactly. I think that shows a lot of a character from him.
And there's also like a change in coaching staff and stuff like that. Are you confident in like the new manager and all that? Are you kind of watching a lot of Chelsea games, try and learn like how is it working with like Graham Potter there? Are you just kind of watching and waiting and getting ready, like looking at what they're doing?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's super important for me to come in with an idea of what the playing style is, how the coach wants us to play. Because if I go in there just empty-minded, I think that it's going to take me a little bit to adjust to it. But if I can educate myself by watching the games and just like some behind the scene training clips, I think that I can start to learn even while I'm over here and developing that style of play.
It's a real pleasure to meet you, and yeah, really looking forward to welcoming you in London as well. I'm glad you're coming to me because Chicago's quite far, so yeah, makes life easier. But yeah, no, we're really looking forward to welcoming you at Chelsea and in English football. So yeah, it's really exciting stuff.
Thank you very much.